Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith, joined by my co-host Inf, and you are live here on Sports Vibes TV. Now we got a pretty good show put together
It
for
was
you
going.
guys. But before I get into it, just want to pass the mic to my co-host Inf. Inf, man, how you been?
Been good, getting through this time without any NBA to watch. It's been rough, and I'm not big on the Olympics. Even if it's USA basketball, I'm not big on it. So it's been rough. Missing the Knicks, man.
I hear you. I hear you. But we're here to talk about Knicks, and we got a pretty jam-packed show put together for you guys. We're gonna be giving some draft grades to our signings. I asked Inf to give me his grades, and I'm also asking you guys, SV Nation, also known as the chat, to give me your grades as well. I'm gonna be putting a poll in the chat for you guys to vote on, and we'll be adding you to the slides. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
And salute to the chat right now. Salute Geraldine, Robert Parr, Big Task at Hand, Anodi 25. Salute.
Salute, salute, salute. Now let's put the slides up. All
All
right.
right. Welcome.
So our first player that we're gonna be reviewing is Evan Fournier. Now, Inf, you gave Evan a B plus. You want to elaborate a little bit more on why you felt he was worthy of a B plus in the signing?
You know why I feel like he was worthy of a B plus? Because if there's one thing that we did all of last season, it's complain that Reggie Bullock is not a starter for us. That he doesn't even deserve to be in there. And also we talked about the fact that we have no floor spacing, no one who can legitimately shoot. Evan Fournier is a legitimate starter and can knock it down when he needs to. Also, he can create his own shot. He can shoot mid-range. He can shoot three. He can drive when he needs to. There's no way for me to look at this and be like, "Man, we made the wrong move." I feel like he's a solid player. He was solid in Orlando. I think he's definitely going to be solid for us.
Yeah, I gave Evan Fournier a B because the contract kind of got to me. If you look at some of the other players that signed deals, Norman Powell, he signed for about 18 mil a season. And Evan Fournier, I mean, I like what he can contribute. That's why I gave him a solid B. I think it's a good signing in terms of the fit and him being able to score, like you said, add more spacing out there. But I feel like we could have used the cap a little bit more wisely. Norman Powell, as you know, was my guy. Let me just put the poll in. Okay. What grade are we giving Evan Fournier? Let me know, chat.
I mean, listen, when he was on Orlando, he was averaging like 25 points a game. Like, this man can shoot. There's no, and plus, if you look at the last few contracts that we've given to people around the 70 range, is Joakim Noah, is Tim Hardaway Jr. I feel like this is the one solid person where he's basically in the prime of his career. He can still contribute for all 4 years of his contract, and he's a proven scorer as is. And this isn't a max contract.
Yeah, it's not a max contract. And also what I liked about the deal is we do have the option of moving on from him after 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that came a little bit later on. I think that's what kind of opened me up a little bit more to the idea of having Evan Fournier, the fact that we can move on from him if it doesn't happen to be the right fit, or if we need to move on from him and trade him, if we're going to bring in, a bigger name or bring a piece. It's not a contract that we'll be saddled with.
Yep. It's an easy to move contract, if anything. And it seems like a lot of the chat is split between B and B plus.
Well, I made it easy for them. The only option they're gonna have is B. I apologize.
Man, so you ain't even trying to let me win. Say less.
Nah, we get a little bit more leeway.
And salute JD, exactly. Like, it was Mitch's fault. I hope he don't start this season. I hope he don't start a single game.
Why are you beefing with Mitch? What's going on with Mitch?
Nah, Mitch he's just so annoying. Like, he's gonna be hurt this season. Like, I can already predict it.
Don't give him bad vibes. Come on.
Listen, man. It's not even me giving bad vibes. It's him as a human being, him as a sports player, it's just him.
All right, so it looks like the Bees won. Let me add that.
Choice. I mean, I'm glad nobody thinks that this is like a bad signing, Because at first I was a bit nervous, like, the Knicks weren't doing anything. And then a lot of the names we were getting tied to, I wasn't liking personally. And then once this contract landed, I was like, all right, you know what? This is solid. It's a huge upgrade from Reggie Bullock. And mind you, a lot of the sports analysts on ESPN were talking about how the Knicks lost their best perimeter defender and Reggie Bullock, and he was so solid. And I'm just like, no, he wasn't. He was one of the most inconsistent players on our starting lineup. But I'm not mad about it. I'm happy that we did this.
I mean, there was some positives that Reggie Bullock contributed. Like Evan Fournier is definitely going to be a downgrade when it comes to him being a defender. So I mean, I won't sit here and say Reggie Bullock didn't have a contribution to this team, or he wasn't someone that gave us that didn't give us good plays. But I mean, Evan Fournier, yes, is going to upgrade offensively. So it's going to be a wash, I think, if you look at it. But I think what's going to be a bigger issue is the fact that his tandem in the backcourt isn't too great offensively as well. I mean, defensively, I apologize.
I mean, listen, I'm not worried because, again, at the end of the day, this is a Tom Thibodeau team. They play team defense, so it's not heavily reliant on like single individual players. I mean, because look at last season. A lot of the times our lineups were inconsistent, but throughout the whole season, we were one of the best defensive teams, regardless of who was in our lineup, just because we played team defense.
And one of those reasons was Reggie Bullock.
Come on, man.
A lot of nights he was out there guarding the opposing team's best perimeter player. Got to give it to him for that.
Listen, man, I could do that.
You think so? I played against you, bro.
Yeah, you got blocked many times.
You've taken quite a few L's.
I don't think I have, not once.
All right, well, let's see. We got the channel now. Let's see if we can play a game and record it and see what happens.
All right, yo, listen, you want to do that? Just let me know.
All right, bet. You heard it, chat. All right. So I edited the slide to include SV Nation. Bada bing, bada boom.
I'm not Hip Hop Harry, but who's next? Go, go, go.
All right. So the next player on this list is going to be Kemba Walker. So it looks like we're both in agreement here, Infinite.
Yeah, we are. All right, first off, it ain't pulled up yet. All right, now it is. All right, good. No, yeah, we're both in agreement just because at the end of the day, regardless of any knee issue that may be going on, he is an all-star. We got an all-star for dirt cheap. Best case scenario, he's the same Kemba Walker that was in Charlotte. Worst case scenario, we wasted $8 million on. This is just a low risk, high reward situation.
Yeah, I like the signing. I think 8 mil. It's definitely below market value. I mean, they are reporting on issues with his health. But one thing I like about this team is we have a lot of depth at the guard position. We have another player that we're going to talk about a little bit later in Derrick Rose. He can come in and also spell Kemba Walker if we divvy up the minutes between the two accordingly. We also went out and drafted Deuce McBride. He's a player that we can look to put out there if we need a upgrade defensively. That way you won't have Kemba out there taxing his knees. Same thing with Derrick Rose. And we also have my guy, Luka. Luka is an option at point guard as well.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And shooting guard. He's actually both.
Yeah, he's a combo, and he should be able to get minutes at both positions. So we have players. Oh, and also Ruckus. He's saying he wants to stay. So if he's on the team as well, we have an abundance of options out there.
Mm-hmm.
So Kemba, with that $8 million hit on the cap, I'm not too concerned if he's going to have to miss some games or if we're going to have to go in and do some kind of load management because we have options up and down the bench.
Also, this contract it's a reasonable contract to the point where if, let's say, mid-season it's not working out, we can move him, because other teams are still going to get, want the same kind of risk that we had where it's a reasonable contract and hopefully you can get the best out of him. If after the season we're like, all right, he's just not what we need, we can move him 1 year, $8 million. This is just a smart decision from front office.
I mean, Kemba's a good player. If we're moving him because we don't need him, it's going to probably be health related. Because I think when it comes to his talent, I think all the teams in the league could definitely use him. So if we do end up having to move on from him, like you said, it's not a big cap hit, about $8 million. But I think his pairing on this team, working with a coach like Thibodeau, who's gonna help try to hide some of his defensive
Mhm.
drawbacks. I think it's a good fit. He's back in New York. Hopefully, I'll bump into him. you know,
Where I get him on the channel.
yeah, we'll see. I put a word out. Let's see what happens.
But no, yeah. So all in all, this was just a smart signing. Because before we even signed him, I'm just looking at like what we're doing, and I'm just like, all right, we're bringing back a lot of the same people, but we knew throughout the whole of last year we needed a legitimate starting point guard. What are we doing? And I'm just getting nervous as the days was going on, and we weren't signing any point guards. And then our name started being circulated around Dennis Schroeder, and I'm just like, oh, come on, don't be that team that decides to give
Hmm.
this man money. Like Dennis, he can score, but that's it. Like literally, that's it. At least with Kemba, he can score, he can shoot, he can pass the ball. He knows how to get assists. He knows how to create shots for other teammates. He can play a point guard. Dennis Schroeder can just score, and that is it.
Yeah, that was my biggest issue with the Evan Fournier news too, because they kind of paired us getting the both of them, and I'm like, we got to stay far away from Dennis Schroeder. That's not really
Mhm.
the guy I envision captaining my team at the point guard position. So in the chat, I dropped the poll. Continue voting. I'm gonna add it to the slideshow. Also, what I'll do is I'm going to create some visuals and I'm going to post them on the Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook for the channel. So if you're not following us there, make sure you head over to those social media platforms and follow the channel. All right. So if it looks like the A's take it.
Listen, man. I mean, because it's just clean. Like it's. I'm surprised we got a C in there, but
Ooh.
but
Oh, somebody says C?
well, I mean, yeah, because C is at 5%, and then
Oh,
well, 4% now because I guess people are still voting. So at least one person said C, but it's just a smart pickup. And yeah, Dennis Schroeder. I don't see Dennis Schroeder as a legitimate starting point guard on a team. I just don't. Like I don't
he'll
see what the hype is around him. I don't.
he'll he'll start somewhere.
I don't. I mean, if he can get a contract,
I mean, they got reports that he's negotiating with the Celtics. Might be
yeah.
a sign and trade in the works.
All I know is that he's like punching the air, turning down that 84 mil.
I called it too when he said he wasn't going to take the money. I was like, oh, this guy is crazy.
Yeah, like they were. First off, the Lakers were crazy for even throwing that contract out there. But
Hmm.
yeah, he's gonna feel exactly what Nerlens Noel feel. Watch him sign with Boston 1 year, 5 mil.
Oh, like when Noel
Nerlens,
didn't take his money from the Mavs.
yep, turned down 82 mil.
Yeah, and so, well, we're gonna talk about him in a little bit too because we ended up giving him some money. But the next player we are gonna talk about is Derrick Rose. You guys caught a sneak peek. My bad. I had a quick trigger finger. So if you gave Derrick Rose a B plus,
Yep. Listen, if there was one person that actually showed up for us in the playoffs, it's Derrick Rose. Like, let's not get into it. He was the one consistent person, and he made me believe, all right, we're still going to need this man when it comes playoff time, since we're now a playoff team, not a contender, but we're a playoff team, and we're going to need Derrick Rose. We're going to need exactly what he brings, which is clutch baskets when they count. And so, having him for basically 2 years with a team option on a reasonable contract, I'm not mad at this contract at all.
yeah, it'll probably it could be a full 3 year contract because I think the last year is another option, which I
No.
think was a great move by the Knicks. For the most part, all of these contracts have a team option at the end of them. And what I
Mm-hmm.
like about it is if let's say, let me talk about Derrick Rose first, and then I'll talk about the options a little bit later. But I gave the Derrick Rose signing a B. You pretty much said the bulk of it. Derrick Rose came in and he was a major contributing factor into propelling this team into the 4th seed. Now, would I have paid him as much? I'm not sure. But if he's going to continue to contribute at the level that he contributed last season, then he's definitely going to earn that contract. But he's another player like Kimba, where we are going to have to, or we would hope we monitor his minutes. You never know with a coach like Tibbs, but if we're able to monitor his minute and integrate some other pieces at that one position, just so that these guys can get some breaks. we're gonna be moving back to a full season, and we're not gonna know how these guys' bodies are gonna respond. So let's give them a little bit of time. We have the depth on this team up and down the lineup. So if we're able to kind of baby them just to start the season, and then that way we can rely on them in the playoffs, because we saw Derrick Rose start to fade a little bit in the playoffs, and I think with the way we're constructing this team now, we've made it to the playoffs, we've achieved that goal. Now let's try to take another step forward, and we're gonna need Derrick Rose and Kemba if we're gonna make it out of the first round next season.
Listen, I agree. Like I said, watching the playoffs last season, the only time I felt comfortable was when Derrick Rose was on the court. And that's when I'm like, all right, you know what? Something's going to happen. And for the most part, even in those losses, something happened when it came to Derrick Rose. So I'm not mad at this contract at all. I feel like it's reasonable. Like you said, it's basically 2 years with a third team option, and you wanted to get into team options.
Yeah, with team options, basically, if we head into next off season and there's a move to be made for a big player or a big star, basically these are all going to be expiring deals. So they're going to be contracts that other teams would be willing to take on. So that's what I like about the 3 year, with the third year being an option. Next off season, when Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, and all these players are free agents, these are going to be considered expiring deals where other teams may be willing to take them on if we, give them a little bit of something, give them a little second round pick here or there. We don't collected so many 2023s, we could pass a couple out if we need to bring in a Bradley Beal or a player of that ilk.
Facts.
Yeah, let me put the poll in. Pause. That was.
Hey, you.
All right. Let's see. So, Inf.
Yeah.
Between Derrick Rose, I know you gave them different grades, but the favorite player you're going to see out there on the court between Derrick Rose, Kemba, and Evan Fournier, who do you think it'll be?
I'm gonna say Evan Fournier because, like I said, one thing is Knicks needed is a legitimate shooter, and he can shoot. He can really shoot. He's gonna be that player where if I see him taking a three, I'm thinking more likely, all right, this is going in, as opposed to when you see a Reggie Bullock take a three, you're hopeful, come on, hit. With him, I'm gonna feel a little more confident with him taking these shots. I'm gonna feel more confident with him just on the floor with basically our same starting lineup as last season. Just knowing that at the end of the day, if we need somebody who just knocks down a random shot because shot clock is running out, I can trust Evan Fournier to hit that shot.
Yeah, me definitely gonna be Kemba. I think Kemba's game is just box office. So to be able to watch that, night in and night out, and be able to root for him, because normally when I see it, it's him trying to go up against the Knicks. But now I'll be able to see him get into the paint, finish. He's not the greatest three-point shooter. I think he averages around 36%, but you have to respect it. He's a player that can create off the dribble for himself. And at times, he's not a super selfish player. He'll find and create for his teammates as well. So I think if you look at Kemba's game and just how New Yorkers just the street ball aspect of it, I think Kemba in isolation is gonna make a lot of people just be amazing what he can do. I mean, I'm just a big fan of his game, so I think Kemba is gonna be Kemba for me, and Lex the Destroyer is also gonna give Kemba an A.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, I agree, and I'm actually, the player that I'm most excited to actually see next season is Julius Randle, being that we just surrounded this man with what he didn't have last season, which was shooters. With him on the court with Kemba and Fournier, he has the space to do what he needs to do instead of him getting double and triple team because we had Eford Payton out here on the court and nobody had to contest his shot and stuff. If Kemba's at three, like you said, you have to respect it. Fournier, if he's at three, you got to respect it. RJ, if he can hit some of the shots that he was hitting last season, Randle should have the room to just play his game. I feel like offense should come a lot easier now that he has legitimate shot shooters around him. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, that was the biggest issue for this team last season. The fact that we didn't have enough scoring out there
Mhm.
outside of Julius Randle, and everybody was able to key in on us, and that was the biggest issue why we lost the Atlanta Hawks game, and that, and also the fact that Tibbs really didn't want to adjust. So the fact that now in our starting lineup we've got Kemba, we've got Fournier, we're bringing back RJ who shot 40, he shot extremely well from 3-point percentage last season. Yeah, I'm extremely happy with what we did. I might not be sky high on all the signings, but when you look at it in its totality as a collection, we hit a home run.
Listen, I agree. I mean, the contracts that we brought back were people who we were saying, like, we want these people back. Like, the key contributors to our good season last season are still on the team.
Yeah. So the next player we're gonna be looking at is Alec Burks. So if we brought back Alec for 3 years, $30 million, and you
Mhm.
gave it a B plus.
Yes,
Elaborate.
I did. I gave it a B+1 because I feel like he was one of the dark horses in free agency because he did a lot for us last season. Like when it came to hitting shots, when he was healthy, he was knocking down threes, he was knocking down twos, he was scoring 20 points every now and then, 15 here or there. Like whenever we needed a bucket, he was the shot maker for us last season. And so just building off on that with him already being adjusted to the way the Knicks are, I feel like he's going to continue to just improve.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent deal. It's backup money. We're not really breaking the bank to bring back Burks. And as long as we're getting the Burks that we saw in the game against the Kings and the game against the Wizards, I think I'm perfectly fine with it. But if he starts to regress and do some of the things he was doing in the playoffs, I'll be a little bit, it'll be unsettling because I felt like he was a little too selfish towards the end of the playoffs. I think he wasn't looking for others as much as we've seen throughout the season. So as
Yeah.
long as we get the Alec Burks that's going to create for himself and be a willing passer, then I think this is a solid signing at $10 million a season. Once again, it's a contract that'll be able to be moved if we need to move it, and Alec Burks is a guy that can get you a bucket. Like you mentioned, he scored 20 points on multiple occasions throughout the season, and he's proven to be clutch. So if we decide to close games with Alec Burks, the fact that he can, knock down the three, he knocked down the three at over 40% last season, and can go out there and get a bucket for himself. I think at $10 million a season, it's not crazy. And this is right around the most he's made in his entire career. So it's not really a bad contract financially.
No, I mean, and it's funny. After hearing you talk, I'm like even more sure that this is a B+. I was
I
like,
convinced you.
yeah, like you. This is a B+.
Well, I mean,
Listen,
maybe I undergraded him. You think so?
I think
I didn't convince myself apparently.
it's a solid signing.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I forgot just how clutch he was. Like literally, like
hmm
he'd be down 3 points, and he would be the one to hit that shot. He
yeah.
helped us win a few games.
So I would assume Burks over Bullock is good for you.
Oh yeah, we were saying that last season. Huh? We wanted Burks to be starting over Bullock.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah,
did.
like I know they say he could play 3 spots.
I don't know about three. Oh, but point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. Yeah, he was playing point guard for us. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. All right. I just put the poll in the chat. Let me know your thoughts, and then I'll add it to the actual slide. Oh man. So, Inf,
Yep.
you watching Summer League or no?
I want to. I mean, I haven't yet. I'm just waiting for the Knicks.
Yeah. Well, there's been some good games. Oh, George, Burke irks you? What's going on here? Not a fan of the Burks, I guess. And the chat,
Man.
if chat agrees with me. Oh, I'll keep skipping ahead. Keep giving everybody. All right, there we
Yeah,
go.
B for Burks.
Let
Yeah,
me
they
just
agree with
update
you.
it.
Listen, this is, I mean, when's the last time we got to talk about Knicks free agency and we were in a good mood talking about it?
Bro, no lies detected there.
I feel like every year there was always that one contract that we did horribly. Like we'd be fine, we'd be calm, and then boom, out of nowhere, horrible contract. And then
We
last
haven't. It's been about an off season or two since we've done that. Though last off season wasn't bad. Off season before that wasn't terrible.
the offseason before that, isn't that when we gave Tim Hardaway Jr. the 72 mil?
No, that was 4 years ago because he just became a free agent. We gave him 472 and he just hit free agency. So 4 years ago. Yeah.
So who do we throw money at 3 years ago?
I can't think of it off the top of my head. I don't know the free agency list of 3 years ago.
I know that's when we got Julius Randle. That's when we got Bobby Portis and.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So.
Oh, that's when we got all the power forwards.
Yeah. But we didn't overpay anybody though.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a couple off seasons since we really, paid through the roof. All right, Nerlens Noel. That's the next player we're gonna be discussing. We gave him 3 years, 32 mil. Imp, how do you feel? You gave him a B. Elaborate.
Listen, I gave him a B because at the end of the day, when it comes to the center position, who played the most for us last season? This man. Who was the most consistent? This man. Who was getting blocks like crazy? This man. Who improved throughout the season as it went on? This man. So I'm not just going to go ahead and discredit all that he's done. Yeah, offensively, he isn't there, but defensively, he did exactly what we needed, and he showed up more than half the season. No shade, Mitch.
So with Nerlens Noel, I think he got overpaid a little bit, to be completely honest with you. I feel like that's borderline starters money to be giving him roughly $11 million a season. If you look at Clint Capella's contract, Clint Capella's only making when Clint Capella signed his deal in the first year, he was only making a few more mil. So to have Nerlens Noel making 11 million, you might get your wish, because that doesn't show they have too much confidence in Mitch. They're paying Nerlens Noel, almost 6 times more than him. And if Mitchell Robinson continues on his trajectory where he's not going to be available, then he very well could be on the way out. And if he is on the way out, Nerlens Noel is going to compensate it somewhat to the levels of being a starter.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to start the season, Nerlens is going to be our starter. We don't know when Mitchell's coming back.
Oh, bold prediction.
We don't know when Mitchell. It's just we don't know when Mitchell's coming back. We just don't.
Well, Mitch was itching to come back in the playoffs. It's just the team didn't want to. He's been working.
He's one of them Twitter talkers. Like this man probably still had a boot on, tweeting like, "Oh, I'm ready to go," but they're not letting me. Like, no, you gotta. Yeah, I can't win. I can't.
He'll be available to start the season.
All right. Well, I'm still saying Nerlens Noel is going to be our starter. Mitch off the bench.
All right. So, chat. I'm gonna put it.
See, look, Stanley Mann said, considering Mitch is still walking around with a boot on his foot, Noel might be in the starter next year.
Yeah, but I think that was debunked on Twitter. Somebody said Mitch was still in a boot. I think he's out the boot, but he's posting pictures on IG and Twitter. He's bootless.
No, I don't know. All I know is that what's up, man? I mean, even if Mitchell stays healthy the whole season, he's not that big of an improvement from Nerlens for me to be like, we need.
I disagree. I think the fact that Mitchell Robinson's athletic, he has the ability to finish above the rim. Also, Mitch, I think his hands are a lot better than Nerlens Noel. And Mitch is also a better rebounder than Nerlens Noel. Man, you got to give Mitch some credit, bro.
I refuse.
Mitch ain't chopped liver. He's just being paid like he's chopped liver at $1.8 million if you're talking about contracts in the NBA.
Well, I mean, that's just
value. He just got to stay on the court.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't. Like, did he even play last season? I can't recall.
Here you go with throwing shade. All right, chat. I put the poll. Let me know what you guys vote on, and we'll update the slideshow. But yeah, I was shocked when I saw the 332. I was thinking he was going to get closer to what he was making originally. I think he was making 5-6 mil. Pretty much doubled how much he was making.
I mean, because he started for us more than half the season.
We got a super chat from JD. Shout out JD Sports Talk. Make sure you guys check out his channel. Also, shout out to Foxy. I saw Foxy in the chat. And George. I think I shouted out George too. George is in the chat. Good people. Solid people.
JD said Mitch is gonna prove me wrong this season. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah. So JD says, proud of you, leading the charge. Appreciate you, JD. Growing fast. Congrats on 4K subs too. Can't wait to do more work. Inf, Mitch proving you wrong this year. Thumbs up. Rebuttal.
We'll see. We'll see. If he plays the game this season, we'll see.
Also, make sure you guys like the video, smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already. So, Inf, I done zipped through the whole slide. So, if Mitch does end up, being a long-term option at center, you'd have an issue with it, or you'd be cool with it? Because I think he's going, like JD said, he's going to prove you wrong, and I mean, you're gonna have to make amends with him. You're gonna go on a Mitchell Robinson apology tour.
Nah. First, I mean, Mitch at best is gonna be a role player. Like, I don't see what y'all see as far as him being this. I don't think he's gonna be like Clint Capella. I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's just gonna be a regular role.
He doesn't have to be Clint Capella though. He just has to continue being
be
solid defensively and continue being a presence on defense. And then offensively, he's gonna have to work on his game. But I think defensively, he's solid. I think defensively, he's better than Noel. And then if he's already better than
I don't know
Noel defensively, then offensively, he got Noel too. Noel got a little jump shot. That's about it. That he rarely pulls out the bag, and even when he does shoot that little elbow jump shot, you get nervous. It's like, oh, Nerlens, what you doing? Give it up, get the ball up.
Yeah, but how many? I feel like last season, before the season started, we were talking about how Mitch needs to develop his game, and this is going to be a big growing season for Mitch, and it wasn't. And now this season, we go again. Mitch needs to hurt, bro. This is going to be a big season for Mitch. Listen. Every season he has. I'm just saying what has happened. I'm not hoping anything happens. I'm just saying what has consistently happened.
All right. Well, we got another center we have to talk about, and that will be Taj Gibson. How you feel about Taj? And what's up with this C? No Taj Gibson love?
Listen, man. It's just for what? What annoys me is that it's not like we just signed him on, to be that Udonis Haslem of our team, to hype the kids up. Nah, Thibodeau is going to play this man minutes for some reason, consistently too. Like, come on. Like, anytime you see an old Bulls player, that person is going to get minutes. If Carlos Boozer wanted to come out of retirement and the Knicks signed him, he would get minutes.
Carlos Boozer.
It's just, I don't know, man. I'm not happy about this. Like, if it was, like I said, if it was just for him to sit on the bench and hype our dudes up or make adjustments or whatever, but being that he's going to be playing,
that's pretty much what he's there for. He's probably only playing unless it's due to injury. Because last season he only played due to injury. When Mitch was healthy, when Nerlens Noel was healthy, Taj Gibson was an automatic DMP unless it was garbage minutes. So as long as those two stay healthy, we should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm nervous. Like, what's the odds that we're going to be healthy?
This guy here.
I
mean, I gave it a B- because it's a league minimum contract. Honestly, I really wouldn't. It wouldn't faze me who they gave the league minimum contract to, because I don't think they're going to be playing. As long as Mitch and Noel stay healthy, Taj Gibson is just going to be someone that's going to further, spread Tom Thibodeau's message. So him being a coach out there, I would have preferred them just signing him as a coach or an assistant coach. But then again, he probably wouldn't make as much. So it works out better for Taj this way.
Yeah, but like I said, like before we even did this, Hassan Whiteside was still an available free agent. I don't know who he signed with or how much he got, but I don't think it was that much. I don't think he got sizable contract, and he's a solid player still. But
Yeah, but do you think Whiteside really wants to sign on to be the third? Well, I mean, if Mitch gets hurt,
listen, but
or if Noel goes down, then
I'm
it
looking
might
at the
actually be
Knicks
an
at
opportunity to play.
guaranteed minutes. Like
Yeah,
if I'm looking at the Knicks, like, oh, I'm definitely gonna play.
I wouldn't be shocked if Nerlens Noel felt that when he came to the team last offseason.
Yeah, that's probably why he re-signed this season. Like, oh, it's lit. I ain't gonna get these minutes elsewhere.
He re-signed because they gave him slightly bloated contract. It's not terrible. I think the Knicks will still be able to move from it, but he gave up 70. He gave up, was it 72 mil that he gave up? It was
82.
82 mil. You know, at this point, you gotta take what you can get. We wasn't giving it up again.
Nah, yeah, that was just. What's it, man? I know Dennis Schroeder tight right now. Like, ain't nobody. What did he think he was gonna get? Like, did he think he was gonna get 100 mil?
Hey, people were getting money like crazy. Look what Kyle Lowry signed for. Look what
Yeah, but Kyle
Chris Paul
Lowry.
signed from. I
Kyle
mean, he's not
Lowry.
them, yes, but
No, like Kyle Lowry has proven that he can be a starting point guard on a championship team. Like he did it.
mhm.
Like a genuine focal point of the offense contributor. Because I know Dennis Schroeder won a ring with the Lakers, but come on,
Come on.
you weren't a top 3 player on that team. You weren't the reason. Whereas Kyle Lowry, he was, and I feel like the Heat are significantly better with Lowry on that team. But if you take Lowry out and you put Dennis Schroeder there, they got worse. You gave up Dragic for Dennis Smith. I mean, what is his name?
Speaking of Dennis Smith Jr., I think he got cut.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I don't think he's on the trade.
Yeah, I think his contract was not renewed with the Pistons. That's kind of sucky for him.
Word.
Hey, we finagled that trade, man. We moved DSJ for D Rose, and then we re-signed him. I'm not going front. We were both against the move. We can't sit here and act like we was for it $100,000, but
yeah.
Hey, worked out. I'm cool with being wrong as long as it works out. What?
No, we were fine with Dennis Smith going. We was just mad that it wasn't Eford Payton. But we weren't like, oh, we just lost a guy who's sitting on the bench. Like, we ain't here.
Well, no, I had an issue with it just because Derrick Rose was going to take minutes away from
quickly
playing point guard.
Yeah, you're right. He was upset about that.
That was my biggest beef. So, chat, I threw the B up there for SV Nation, and we're going to move on to our final player for the evening, and that will be the Julius Randle. And JD, if you're watching, I got the I got the correct amount right. 117 million. When I dropped my other video, I had a little typo.
But you have 170?
No, I had 177.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, right.
Nah, this is beautiful. This is that kind of contract where, like, I was hoping that, like, this is something that you hope that he would even consider listening to. But the fact that he signed it specifically to make sure that the Knicks can continue to build around him and build, like, I have never respect for this man, son.
Yeah. Homie signed for 60% of what he could have earned. Imagine you going to your job and saying, I'll come to work, but, I won't take 100% of what you were willing to give me. I'll only take 60% or 60% of what I'm eligible for. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. I gave it an A. You said you gave it an A as well, right?
Yep. I mean, because I think that he learned from everyone else's mistake. Because you see all these other players. You see Damian Lillard stuck on a team where they can't build around him. Like, he was complaining that they didn't do that much. Look at your contract. What can they do? You're going to be earning 50 mil. That's like half the cap. Whereas Randle, he learned. He's just like, listen, I can still make 100 mil. I'm in New York. I can get endorsements. I want to win a chip. I want them to be able to build around me. So this was smart, man.
Yeah, I was shocked because I made a video talking about the extension, and I thought that it would be a far-fetched idea to see Julius Randle forego, $202 million and sign for, a $117 million extension. You don't see that too often in the NBA. And it's kind of funny because right after he signed his deal, they had the news of KD signing his extension. So hopefully this front office can kind of build around Julius Randle and make this the model moving forward of teams and players kind of working together to get the best solution, to get the best outcome for the fans. Because I think in this situation, everybody wins. Julius Randle is going to win because he's still going to be paid a handsome amount of money, more money than most of us will ever see in our lifetimes. The team is going to win because now they have the cap space to build around Julius Randle. And us as fans, we're going to win as well because now we're going to be able to see a better product out there because we're not focused on paying one or two players and then trying to mix match and bring in role players that are either past their time or not in a position where they can really be key role players on a championship team. So I think this was a win-win decision for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The Knicks, they did their thing. Like I give the Knicks a round of applause, man.
Yeah. I pressed the applause button, but I can't remember which one it is.
And the only thing the Knicks did even better than this contract, the one thing they did even better is letting Eford Payton walk. Oh my goodness. We all got to celebrate that, man. The fact that they did not re-sign Eford Payton, but even for the vet, man, oh my goodness.
I mean, you know what must have been awkward? Team France, because Fournier signs his deal with the Knicks, and then as you can see, we're not bringing back Frank. So that locker room must have been almost as comfortable as the Team USA locker room, where you have Devin Booker in there with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah, that's rough. And I wonder what Frank gonna do because I don't think no teams reached out to him.
Said, I wonder what Frank gonna do. Yeah, I mean, I guess that joke where they were saying people he was gonna be playing in China might be coming to fruition.
Yeah, Shanghai Sharks.
Like playing 2K, right? Remember that? What was that? 2 years ago they had you playing in China for the prelude?
I have no idea. I haven't bought a 2K since 2K21.
Oh, good. You're not missing nothing. So the chat says we're giving Julius Randle an A and out. As you can see, Inf and I both agree. All right. So we're going to do one more. Inf, give me your grade for overall. What are you giving them?
Overall, I'm giving the Knicks, let's see, if I average out, and then I'm giving us an A. And that's not
overall?
Yeah, and that's not me being biased. That's strictly because, like I said, we kept the pieces that contributed to our success last season, and we fixed the issues that we had as far as shooting and spacing on the floor with Julius Randle. Like that, come on, man.
So you're giving him A. I'll give it a B plus. There were some moves that I wasn't gang ho about, but I could live with. And I think collectively we put together a solid team. I think this team is deep. This team goes at least 3 deep for each position. Point guard, I named a few. Shooting guard, we've got RJ Barrett. We've got Quentin. We recently just drafted Quentin Grimes. We've got Emmanuel Quickly. We've got Luka, who we said is a combo and can play both. At small forward, we've got Fournier. We've got Alec Burks. We've got Kevin Knox, if they decide to give him some minutes, even though I don't really, see that in the horizon. And then at power forward, we got Randall. We've got Obi. And we got Gibson, who can play power forward and center. And then we've got Mitch and Noel at center exclusively. So I think with the moves that this team has made in the offseason, we're not a juggernaut. I'm not going to sit here and say we are. But this team, there's so many options for Tom Thibodeau. And the practices are going to be intense. Because I think Julius Randle, in one of his videos he dropped, he said this is one of the first teams he's been on where everybody is going to the gym. Everybody's working together, working on their craft. So if we have a team that's this deep and they're all working together, working as a unit to get better, and I'd pay to go watch the practices. Shoot.
And what I'm happy about is the fact that, because the Knicks, they could have just brought everybody back and thinking everything's going to be the same. But the East got a lot stronger this season. Like, specifically, obviously, Chicago did improve, They got obviously Lonzo, who I was really hoping that we would have gotten.
Facts.
Like I hope one of the teams get fined through this NBA investigation. Like I hope so. I'm that bad. But they clearly got better. And then also, I think Washington is actually going to be decent as well. Like they added a lot of just solid pieces to one team, and they still have Bradley Beal. So I'm interested to see like how they actually turn out. But yeah, the East definitely improved. So I'm glad that the Knicks improved with them, and I'm glad that the teams to beat didn't improve. Like Philly did nothing. Boston surprisingly did nothing.
Well, Philly got Drummond.
They did nothing. Like Drummond. Like what did he do last season? Come on. Is he gonna get minutes? Is he gonna get minutes?
He's gonna take the minutes that Dwight Howard. Probably Drummond and Dwight Howard pretty much just swap positions. One's going to Philly and the other one's going to LA. They're just gonna take each other's minutes.
Yeah, Drummond. Listen, I don't know why he did that. Him forcing the buyout to go to the Lakers ruined his career to me. Like as far as teams looking at him as valuable. Once he went to the Lakers, he looked like a joke. And now he's going to another team to not even be a starter on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah, they've got a lot of things to worry about over there in Philly because what are they going to do with Ben Simmons?
Yeah, and I keep seeing all these reports. Oh, Ben Simmons is willing to go here, willing to go there. He does not have a no trade clause. Ben Simmons goes where Philly wants him. Like, whoever gives the best deal, that's what Ben Simmons goes.
Yeah,
like if I'm
it'll probably be the best team from within a selection of teams. Because you got to remember, the team that's traded for him is not going to want to be in the same position that the 76ers are in, where he doesn't want to be there, not returning calls and things like that. So it's a tricky situation. You know, everybody wants superstars, but then once superstars don't get their way and you're left with, some of the things you have to deal with people that are like somewhat, high maintenance or are going to require a little bit more care or a little bit more coddling. I would say, don't want to be rude, but a little bit more coddling. It's a tough task.
No, yeah, but at the end, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, if I'm a team and I end up trading for a superstar like Ben Simmons, and then he's like not returning phone calls or anything like that, I'm like, you know what? You about to waste 4 years of your life not playing then because I'm not trading you. Like, I would just be like, either you're gonna play for us and you're gonna improve our team, like we invested in you to do so, or you're just not gonna play and it is what it is. I'm not gonna buy out your contract. I'm not gonna trade you to someone like.
Yeah. So, answer this question: who do you think Golden State will trade for Simmons if they do want to get a deal done? Even though they got Simmons and Moody, pretty much, they got their version of Simmons.
Yeah. Well, they probably trade him because seeing what Philly's asking for, they're trading. They're definitely trading James Wiseman because they have a choice. And probably Draymond Green because that's Ben Simmons' position anyway. First round picks, second round picks. But yeah, I see Wiseman, Green, first and second round.
Probably include Wiggins in the deal. I mean, that's a lot of salary though. You'd have to send somebody in return along with Ben Simmons because if you're looking at Draymond, well, Draymond Green probably makes the same ballpark as Ben Simmons. I'd have to pull up the salaries, but Draymond, Wiseman,
Ben's he was making over 100 mil, whereas Draymond, his contract was like 80 mil.
Yeah, but I think Draymond was a 4-year there, and I think Ben's was a 5.
So even more.
Well, it of course the overall value is going to be bigger on the 5-year deal than the 4-year deal.
Yeah, but as far as like season to season, it's probably similar. Yeah.
Yeah, Gregory Lee is saying Ben Simmons will be gone by mid-season.
Most likely.
Yo, Keish, you hyped us with Luka. He gonna ball out tomorrow. Well, if you watch the interview, he's not sure if he's gonna play. He's dealing with jet lag. But Derrick, I'm glad you brought up Luka because I will be in Vegas on Wednesday to watch Luka. I'm putting my travel money where my YouTube channel's time is. Like that. We'll be going out there to check out the Knicks, check out Luca, check out Grimes, McBride, and report from Vegas for you guys. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got notifications turned on. That way, whenever I do drop content from out there, you guys will be the first ones to see it. Shout out to you as well, Derrick. Great subscriber.
And what time is the game tomorrow?
4:30.
All right, cool. That's reasonable. I'm gonna make sure to tune in because I don't know anything about the players that we drafted, so I want to see what they're about.
Yeah, get into it. All right. So we'll wrap it up here. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Also in the chat, let me know how you feel about the new looks. You took some time off, and I wanted to make sure when I came back, I kind of upgraded the viewing experience. So I hope you guys like it. This will be the new layout for now on. So thank you guys for joining us. Inf, anything you want to say before we close out?
Nah, man, let's go Knicks. We got to get this win tomorrow.
Yeah, facts. All right. So once again, I'm Keith, joined by my co-host Inf, and this is live here on Sports Vibes TV.